I think what I need to do is I need to start making shorter videos. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 15 minutes short. Making shorter videos and then uploading them as regularly as possible throughout the day on my social media platforms. I think there's a lot of people that are now getting comfortable with seeing my face and also hearing my voice. I literally am in spaces where a person will be like, I heard your voice, and I was like, I know this voice. So I'm not on radio, I'm not on TV, but I am on social media. And I think I need to become more responsible in delivering some of the more important news to you guys. I don't want to give you guys news, but I want to give you guys news that I think are relevant and I think affect your life. One of the things I'm really big on is this concept that when we discuss politics, corruption, big business, wars, I love bringing it home and trying to figure out what is the learning moment, what is the teachable moment for myself, and how can I then pass it on to you guys. So I'm going to try and do that. The other thing that it's going to help me with, of course, is if I'm writing trending news, I can then just copy whatever the tag words are and put them in my title so that when people are searching for some of those things, my videos come up. It'll allow more viewership. Um, it'll allow me access to certain audience members that I may not have. But then now that I've got that person, once I get those people, hopefully what will happen then is I will give the news and then I'll speak to the more important conversation that needs to happen. I know one of my videos that has trended in the past was me giving advice to Umbalenhle Mlotshwa, who was, I think they've sort of fixed their relationship. I just don't know if they've remarried. But Umbalenhle Mlotshwa, who was married to Black Coffee, and her complaint that the electricity has not been paid, and she was demanding that Black Coffee pay for that. You know, other videos that have trended, there was one, Pabi Muloi, who has been dating a white man. They have a child, and this guy was getting divorced from her, and he claims that he paid ilobolo or something, and Upabi was claiming she's not married. So that opens up a conversation around traditional marriages in South Africa. It opens up a conversation between interracial marriages and relationships, etc., which are the more juicier conversations that I want to have. A lot of you may have seen, there was a story that came out this weekend, very heartbreaking. 22 people, I think, the last time I checked, 22 people died. eNyobeni, Tavern, in East London, eMonti, in the Eastern Cape. The bulk of those people are young people, apparently, underage drinkers, of which I just saw like a headline recently saying the youngest victim was 13 years old. People are demanding that the tavern owner be arrested. Why was he selling alcohol to underage people? There are stories of, because one of my questions on Twitter was, what was the cause of the deaths? You know, did someone come in there and shoot them? It seems there was a stampede. The club was too full. And in that stampede, there's rumors that the security or the tavern owner, there was pepper spray or some type of gas, and they didn't really open the doors and whatever the way they should have. And apparently some of these people suffocated. So there's going to be investigations launched. I believe Upegicel has gone there somewhere. For me, again, like I'm saying, this is going to be trending news. I'm going to put it in the headline, of course, for this video. But the more important thing for me is we've got an issue with substance abuse in this country. Alcohol abuse is destroying, in particular, the black nation. They've given you this thing. I need you to move from a dummy, which is a pacifier. You move from the bottle as a baby to then sucking on the bottle of alcohol. And that becomes your pacifier as an adult because you can't handle the reality of life, your poverty, heartbreak, maybe your under-education, your miseducation, etc. So people decide to numb their minds, numb their reality through alcohol. Alcohol obviously graduated into nyaupe, tik, crystal meth, cocaine, heroin, all these other drugs that people use to numb the pain, or sometimes to keep them going if they are highly powered individuals, celebrities that travel every weekend gigging, corporates that are always dealing in stressful situations, especially traders. You know, so we need to resolve these things, not for the country, not for the world, but for those of you who listen to me and who want a better life, for yourselves, for your kids. A lot of the people we know now who don't smoke cigarettes, smoke weed because they think weed, marijuana is better, and they smoke habli. Guys, those are tobacco products. They are addictive and they destroy your lungs. You can think it's cool, just puffing a habli, getting some charcoal and flavor. That shit is destroying your insides. And when you get older and you've got lung cancer and you're coughing, and you're like, no, I was young. Those are pop excuses. You're using some of the dumbest excuses of I was young. You know, when you're young, you want to have fun. That young having fun is what's led to a lot of people being in car accidents. A lot of people committing suicide, killing their lovers, being hit by a car somewhere, you know, drunken driving because you were young. Oh, YOLO, you only live once. It's stupid. It's fucking retarded. You're too smart. You're too smart to be engaging in dumb habits. And if you picked up these dumb peer pressure habits like drinking and smoking as a kid in high school because you were trying to be cool. Oh, bro, give me a puff there. Because you're trying to be cool. Because the chick that you like that is so hot also smokes. You need to work harder to fucking rid yourself of those habits. There's nothing cool about smoking. There's nothing cool about nicotine and tar. It's destroying you. And your body is the only asset you will ever really own. It is your computer. It is your weapons. On the feet, it is your transportation. That's the body that you have. And it's a tool that allows you to eat. You can hunt. You can climb a tree and go pick a peach and eat and be full. You need to take care of your body. And if you're not, I'm here coming to tell you that work harder. Work harder to cut down on your cigarettes. Work harder to cut down on your weed smoking. Stop smoking habli. Stop trying to be cool. Stop drinking excessively. Stop drinking if you can. I'm obviously speaking from a place of privilege. I don't drink alcohol. I've never drank alcohol. I don't smoke anything. Habli, weed, cigarettes. I don't know what in my mind has been so stubborn that I just don't want to try these things. But I love myself. I'm happy to consume junk. So that's my drug of choice. Having a Coke, having some KFC, having some McDonald's. And I'm working because I realize that my body is a temple. It's a vehicle. It's a weapon. I realize that it's important for me to change my diet, to work harder, to rewire the things that I'm putting inside this, because I want to be healthy. I want to have the best piece of machinery and computer and technology, which is me, as possible. But those are my drugs of choice, and I'm working hard to get rid of them. And you guys are on even worse drugs. You don't need to smoke. It doesn't feed you when you're hungry. You don't need to drink. When you're thirsty, if I could just have a beer. These things numb your senses. They rewire your brain functioning, and they're wrong. Another very important conversation that needs to come out, of course, is this thing of intentional parenting and being more hands-on than we are with raising our kids. The liberal world, children's rights, TV and radio and social media, they've got us thinking that as a good parent, you need to give your child to the world. To the same corrupt politicians, through the schooling system that has got so many unemployed, give them to go and work for these big businesses that are destructive. And give them to other retarded people out there to program their minds. No. And Andrew Tate, popular guy on social media, Andrew Tate speaks about the fact that he's not homophobic, he's not anti-gay, he's not anti-trans. He's just got a certain value system. And he doesn't want the school programming his kids with their value system. He's like, this is my child. I pay their school fees. I feed them. I clothe them. I give them shelter. If anyone is going to program my children, it won't be the government. It won't be the school. It won't be the church. It won't be whichever woke society there is today. It will be me. My child is my extension, and my child will live according to my worldview because they're my responsibility. A lot of parents, of course, are drunk wherever they are. They're high wherever they are. So it only makes sense that their children will follow their example and also be weed heads and be drunkards at a young age. They think it's cool. Having sex and becoming teen moms and teen dads. Unplanned. No money. Going to stand in grant lines and yet you're 16 to go and collect money for your child. While you're a child yourself on a grant yourself. Children raising children that are being parented by idiotic adults who are swimming in substance abuse. So it's very sad that in eNyobeni there were a lot of underage children there. I don't necessarily think much of 16 and 18 as ages for smoking and drinking. I think more in terms of maturity. There are 30-year-olds, 40-year-olds that shouldn't be drinking, shouldn't be smoking. Because when they're drunk, they go and they destroy stuff at home. When they're drunk, they go and they beat up their partners. When they're drunk, they drive recklessly. And they may not die, but other people that are sober end up dying in those car accidents. There are old people that shouldn't be voting, as an example. We need to have some type of maturity and political literacy test. That if you can pass this test, that means you know what a vote means. If you cannot pass this test, you should not be allowed to vote. A 16-year-old child that understands politics, that understands parliament, that understands legislation, that understands the state of the economy and the budget speech, that 16-year-old child should be allowed to vote. But the 80-year-old person who's not going to live long anyways, they don't really know what the president does. They don't really know who their ward councillor is. They don't understand the worth of their vote. Why are they allowed to vote? Our sham of a democracy survives in particular because political leaders are comfortable being voted by politically illiterate people. If the masses knew exactly how politics work and they knew exactly the responsibilities of their leaders, they would vote much differently. In the same way that people, when they have money, they go to the store that has the best quality products at the best prices for them. Once you know that this good is cheaper at this store, once you know that there's a better quality good somewhere at the same price, you move and you become a customer elsewhere. If the masses knew that these are the politicians doing fundamental work and these are their results. I mean, if you're campaigning as an example, don't campaign on, we will give you jobs. We will make sure that you get the land. We will make sure that this white monopoly capital is not coming to steal your jobs and your ancestors. People are not fucking sold that shit, but they sold in the last 5 years as a political party. This is the mandate that we sent out there and that you guys gave us as your leaders. And these are all our results. This is where we've succeeded at 60%. This is where we've succeeded at 90%. This is where we failed. We only got 30% of the work done. We didn't have a budget here, so we couldn't even do this. And people can fundamentally see that this political party is working. We can see the work on the ground. One of the things that hurt me is I saw a post. So I saw two posts. The first one was from eNyobeni, who's the spokesperson for the Jacob Zuma Foundation, in speaking on Jacob Zuma's thoughts with the State Capture Commission report, the final installment. Ex-President Jacob Zuma couldn't attend because he's currently in prison, in case you guys don't know. He's currently in prison, but the terms, because he's on a medical parole, allow him to be at home. But because he's at home under medical parole, he can't just roam around and go wherever he wants. So he couldn't attend that. So people like Advocate Dalimpofu were there. People like eNyobeni were there as well. eNyobeni was speaking about the Eskom load shedding case, and he was saying the problem with black people is black people, because if Andre Terreita was a black person, black people would have marched by now to say that he must be removed. And my question to him was, when are you marching? Why are you not marching? Or are you waiting for other black people to have these marches so that you can judge them? You live in a white neighborhood, you send your kids to white private schools, you probably have white medical aid, and then you have the goal to attack the same black people that vote some of you guys in power. The other thing that I saw, one of the tweets that I think that I posted was, you guys need to be careful of your black political leaders. They live in white DA-run neighborhoods. They send their kids to white private schools. They have white medical aid. They use private healthcare, which is largely white. And yet these people want you to follow them, yet they live in spaces with leaders that are not them. They live in spaces where the leaders are not them. The leaders are the same white people they bash in public when they expect you to vote for them in whatever township or other suburb that you live in. That's hypocrisy. That's cognitive dissonance. We need politicians that are able to tell you, you guys gave us work to do. This is how we've done with the work. The last parting shot I wanted to say was, again with the DA, ANC, EFF. When people say, yeah, the Western Cape is run by the Democratic Alliance, but look at Khayelitsha, Langa, Nyanga. I'm like, but are those black neighborhoods, are they DA neighborhoods? And someone is like, yeah, but the Western Cape is run entirely by the DA, therefore it is their responsibility. And I'm like, no. In the same way that Khayelitsha, Langa, Nyanga, not the responsibility of the DA, or are the responsibility of the DA, is the same way that when Johannesburg was run by the ANC, you had an upmarket Santon right next door to a broken, dysfunctional Alex under the same ANC. So when you judge the DA for Khayelitsha, be comfortable to judge the ANC for Alex that is next to Santon. My last parting shot. I hope you guys will have a great day. Chat to you guys soon. Cheers.